It's always too early to move the f-pawn, but is one f3 losing? Well, it doesn't seem so if you look at Magnus Carlsen's results with this move. He beat Wesley So, and he drew against Jan-Krzysztof Duda with white. And actually, yeah, white has three main different ideas, possible ways of playing after one f3, that we are going to take a look at. But of course, it's really bad for white. And in the second part of the video, I'm going to show you the refutation for black. Okay, so the first plan is to play knight h3, and then knight to f2, followed by g3 and bishop g2 and castle. And white would reach a kind of modern / hippopotamus position. For instance, let's say e5, knight h3, possible, and after g5, knight f2, and let's say c5, not the best move already. g3, knight c6, and you can see I'm playing just normal developing moves for black. But castle, bishop e7, d3, castle, e4, let's say bishop e6, knight c3, and here for instance g4, knight e2, and white has reached a kind of reverse king's Indian, and they want to play f4 next, and for instance knight d7, f4, and after f6, f5 is possible, but maybe the best is even to play bishop h3 first, to exchange the light squared bishop, and then only close the position with f5. And yeah, actually white could even be better. So this is the first plan. The second one, sorry. The second one is even more provocative. After e5, white plays king f2. But it's not totally stupid. White's idea is next to play e3 to give the king some protection, and as soon as they see knight c6, they will play bishop b5, and then they want knight e2 and g4 whenever possible, and then maybe even rook e1 and king back to g1, and the position could be more or less equal and normal. And it has been played, for instance d5, e3, and here I'm going to show you two games. The first one is a game against Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So, which was played on Chess24 at the final of the Banter Blitz Cup 2020. Wesley here played knight c6, and here one very important theme to remember: don't play g4 for white. I mean, don't play f3 in the first place, but if you have this position, don't play g4, because e4, and queen to h4 either wins the pawn or forces king e3, which is even worse for white. So yeah, don't play g4. So here obviously Magnus played not g4 but bishop b5, as I told you, and after knight e7 then he played g4, and the position was already more or less normal. Wesley played a6, but there is no point of exchanging, so bishop a4 was played, ed, knight f5, knight e2, bishop d6, c3, and yeah, black is probably a little bit better, but like the position is playable. And yeah, they followed castle, knight d2, rook e8, knight f1, and actually Magnus did win the game. So yeah, this is the second plan. And okay, it was a blitz game, so maybe in blitz is possible, but certainly not in classical game, right? Actually one grandmaster played one f3 and followed by king f2. It's a legendary British grandmaster Simon Williams, aka Ginger GM, and it was played at the 1999 British Chess Championship, And of course there's a story behind this crazy opening. It was a bet. It was the last round of the championship and Simon was playing for nothing. So his friends offered him a bet, the following one. If you were to play one f3 and second move king f2 and win the game, they would pay him 19 drinks, very likely alcoholic drinks. So Simon took the bet, played f3 king f2, and e3 on the third move. His opponent played knight f6 here, but because it blocks this diagonal, Simon could play g4, and after knight c6, you know, bishop b5, you know the recipe, bishop d6, knight e2, castle, rook e1, and once again the position was more or less normal. I mean, much better for black, obviously, but maybe not losing for white. And actually, Simon did win the game, and the bet. So this is the second plan. The third plan for white is to play f3 on the first move, and then all the best moves according to the computer. For instance, if black plays g5, first I want to tell you, it doesn't prevent the plan with knight h3 and knight f2, because white plays g3 first, and then knight h3, knight f2, and this plan. But this is not the best at all, according to the computer. White could play also g4 here, with the intention of playing e4 next and reaching a kind of black Mortimer gambit or Albin counter gambit after, let's say, c5, e4. But this is not the best according to the computer. The best move here is the very funny f4. Yeah, the list of the errors for white is to lose a full tempo and play Dutch defense with white. And yeah, the Dutch defense has a bad reputation and deserves bad reputation, I would say. But it's probably not losing by force. And yeah, so after g5, white could play f4, and it's not the end of the world. So e5 is the best, and here Magnus Carlsen against Jan-Krzysztof Duda played the clever move knight c3, which is the best and maybe even only move according to the computer. And here it's funny because Duda didn't play g5, and g5 is not the best move, because here white has g4, and we have transposed into a reversed Nimzowitsch defense. After e5, knight c6, g4, g5, here the best move by far for white is to play e5. But after f3, e5, knight c3, d5, white plays g4, and it's impossible to play e4. And the position is already more or less equal. For instance, ed, queen takes g4, threatening the pawn, so don't play knight c6 because queen takes g5. So here knight f6 is best, but e4, and knight c6, bishop b5, and suddenly, like, everything makes sense, kind of. And yeah, the position would be more or less equal. So g5 is not the best, and Duda played knight f6, so did he know that g5 was not the best, or did he figure out at the chessboard? I don't know. Anyway, Magnus played e4 here. I just wanted to say that e4 here would have been really bad, because then bishop c5, and white regrets very much not being able to play e3 to block this diagonal. So Magnus waited for knight c3, knight f6 to be included before playing e4, but Duda played bishop c5, and it seems Magnus should regret his move e4, not being able to play e3 anymore, but he knew the position and played the computer move knight to a4, only move to stay in the game according to the computer. And black could play bishop takes g1, but rook takes g1. Okay, white can't castle on the king side anymore, but they have the two bishops, and they are going to play g4, and then bishop move like to e3 or g5, and then the queen moves, and they will long castle. For instance, d5, d4, and yeah, the position is more or less equal. Black has lost too many tempi just to exchange the bishops. So Duda played bishop e7, and Magnus played all the best moves, g4, ed, and not queen takes but e5, knight d5, queen takes g4, and here the best move was knight b6. But Duda played knight b4, threatening a royal fork between like everything. But queen f2 protected the pawn and made sense of the move 1 f3. And that followed d6, a3, knight 4 to c6, ed, queen d6, knight e2 to play bishop f4, castle, bishop f4, queen g6, long castle, and here white was already better, and after many crazy moves from both players, the game ended in a draw. So yeah, this is the third possible plan sort of for white. Just play 1 f3 on the first move, and then all the best moves according to the computer. So now let's flip the board and take black. What do we do against f3, against the three different plans for white? First, of course, we play e5 and not g5, f4 as mentioned before. And the good news is the most popular move here, knight h3, to play knight f2 and g3 is just losing for white. We play g5, knight f2, knight c6, and after g3 we play the computer's favorite move, h5, and we will follow with h4. h4 by white is too weakening because, come on, they move their h, g and f pawn, so g3 is too weakened. And here we don't play knight e7, e4 because then we cannot play knight to f5. We play bishop c5 first, forcing e3, and only now we play knight e7, and knight f5 will follow, and white is already dead last. After h5, h3 with the idea h4, g4 can be met by the same recipe, bishop c5 forcing e3, and then knight e7 followed by knight f5, winning for black. So usually they played bishop g2 here, but we play h4, and after g4 it's important to know this team because maybe you are wondering about it and you would not dare to play it, but h3 is the best move. For a pawn we will ensure that white's king stay in the center and white is dead last here. First, let's mention that after knight h3 we play rook takes, bishop takes and queen h4, and we will be up material with a crushing attack. So bishop takes h3 is forced, but here we play queen h4, and white will never be able to castle short we do simply bishop e6 and then long castle, and then we will open through the center and crush white's king, and then bishop e6, let's say e3, long castle. And yeah, another idea for black is to move the knight to g6, always a good square when g4 has been played, because these two squares have been weakened, and then we'll play bishop c5, g4, I mean everything, and white is just dead lost because their king is stuck in the center and they cannot even develop their queen side, and they will never be able to castle on the queen side. So yeah, this plan is simply losing for white. So the second plan, king f2, is also losing. I suggest you just play bishop c5, forcing e3, and here you play d5 and you will follow with g4. You can even pre-move. Okay, after b4 maybe not, but let's say so first remember, after g4 you play ed, queen h4 and win a pawn, or the game after, let's say, king e3, bishop b6 and then c5, knight c6 to open the center against white's king. So g4 is impossible, and knight e2 probably the best move, but g4, and there is a threat of taking because like the d2 pawn is pinned. So white has to react. Usually they do d3, but here you can just take everything, and here you can play c5, and black has set up a Maroczy bind, and we will simply play knight c6, bishop e6, and maybe knight f6, or maybe knight e7, or maybe f5, and then only knight f6. And yeah, white is just dead lost because, okay, look at this king, look at the dark squares, look at the bishop on f1, and look at the lack of development. Black is just winning. So yeah, and there is nothing white can do. Even after c3 you can play g4, and you want to take on e3, and like the best move is queen c2, but d, and here you can play a5 to prevent b4, and as you can see you will follow with f5 and knight f6, and look at this king, you know, white cannot survive this. So let's now take a look at white best moves according to the computer. So knight c3 it is, and here I suggest you play bishop c5 instead of Duda's knight f6, and instead of, as mentioned, d5, which allows g4 for white with more or less equality. So bishop c5, and the first good news is white cannot play Magnus knight to a4. Why? Because there is a small combination. You can try to find it, and I hope you manage. It was queen to h4 check, and after g3 and queen takes a4, which reminds me, if you like this video, and I hope you do, please press the like button. Take 2 seconds to do so. It will make me very happy. Thank you. So bishop c5, no knight a4, so what to do? Only idea is to play e3, and here it's very important to remember that we don't want white to be able to play g4. So we don't play g5, because here g4 would be possible, because after ed, queen h4, g3, queen takes g4, white would exchange the queens and then take the pawn on g5, and here white is actually even better. So don't play g5 here, don't play knight f6 either, because then you block this diagonal. so white is able to play g4. There is no check. And okay, knight c6 is a perfectly good move, but it allows bishop b5, and you know the plan. Knight e2 next and g4 anyway. So I love this move, 3a6. It's a multi-purpose move. First thing to know is that g4 now is impossible because we play ed, queen h4, g3, queen takes g4, and yeah, here this endgame is just a pawn up for black because there is no knight takes d5. And it's also important to note that after queen takes g4, queen e2, we play knight e7, and here black would be lost if the pawn was still on a7, because knight b5 for white would win, threatening knight takes d4 as well as knight takes c7. But here black is simply up a central pawn for more or less nothing, and black is winning, yeah. So g4 is losing, so what can white do? Well, not much, because bishop b5 is impossible, so knight e2, only id. Here we play knight c6, and g4 is still impossible because we take everything and play queen h4 check, and we will be up a central pawn. Maybe g3 seems like a good idea for white to develop the bishop on g2, but also to prevent queen h4 check and play g4 next. But here it's bad for white because we can play d5, and after d4 bishop a7, another idea behind the move a6, and after knight d e5, knight takes e5. White would love to take the pawn, but here is impossible because g3 weakens the f3 pawn. So white has to play bishop g2 first, but here we protect our pawn, and yeah, black is much better, if not already totally winning. So the best move according to the computer here is the crazy looking move h4, with the idea of preventing queen h4 while not weakening the f3 pawn. So on the next move, white will play g4. And here I could continue with the crazy stuff and explain to you why d5 is not the most precise move, which is bishop a7, prophylaxis against d4. But I think it's already too much nonsense for one video. So I will end the video here and wish you a very nice day. Ciao!